Julia and Brandon, one of the most beloved couples from 90 Day Fiancé, have taken their fans on yet another emotional ride. And this time, it's all about a miracle. A baby journey filled with hope, fear, and overwhelming love. Their story began in Russia and Virginia, full of cultural clashes, family pressure, and a farm life adjustment that many of us could never imagine. But today, their journey has entered a whole new chapter. A chapter that brings happy tears, late-night cravings, heartfelt family moments, and of course, a few unexpected surprises along the way. After years of fans asking, wondering, and hoping, Julia and Brandon finally shared the news. They're expecting. And while the announcement was beautiful, the road to reaching this moment has been anything but easy. 4 months, eagle-eyed fans noticed clues, tiny hints here and there. A change in Julia's clothing. A softer glow in her face. Brandon suddenly becoming more protective and emotional. But Julia and Brandon chose to remain quiet, guarding their secret with love and caution. Why? Exactly because this wasn't just a casual announcement for them. It was something deeply personal. Something sacred. They wanted to be sure the moment was right. And they wanted to be absolutely certain everything was safe. When the time finally came, the news broke beautifully. Julia holding her stomach with tears in her eyes. Brandon standing beside her, smiling in that gentle way fans adore, his voice shaking with emotion. This wasn't just a pregnancy reveal. This was a testimony to their journey, their resilience, and their love. Julia talked openly about how scared she was at first. She admitted the pressure she felt living miles away from her family, adjusting to a new life, and worrying whether she would be ready for motherhood. After all, her first months in America weren't easy. She struggled with homesickness, cultural adjustments, and an intense farm life routine that she never expected. Brandon, on the other hand, spoke about how this baby brought him clarity. He said he never realized how much he wanted this until it happened. His priorities shifted. Suddenly, the goofy son from Virginia became a husband with a mission. A protector. A father-to-be who wants to give his family a better life, a safer environment, and most importantly, peace and love. Then came the moment that touched everyone's hearts, telling Brandon's parents. We all know Betty and Ron played a huge role in their early journey. Sometimes supportive, sometimes overwhelming, sometimes hilarious, and sometimes challenging. But when the pregnancy news came, every guard dropped. Betty reportedly cried first. Tears of joy, relief, excitement, and maybe even disbelief. A new chapter was beginning not just for Julia and Brandon, but for the entire family. A grandchild. A legacy. A future. However, as with anything in life, especially in the 90 Day Fiancé world, nothing is ever simple. Julia opened up about facing mixed emotions. Joy and fear battling inside her. She shared how she sometimes wakes up overwhelmed, anxious about whether she'll be a good mom, whether she'll be able to do everything right, whether her baby will have everything they need. These feelings made fans love her even more, because they're real, raw, honest. Brandon, meanwhile, shared something spontaneous during their reveal. He said he promises to be a better man every day, not just for Julia but for their child too. Fans called that moment one of the sweetest things Brandon has ever said on camera. And then came a surprise twist. Julia hinted that this journey wasn't a simple, unexpected pregnancy. She described it as a miracle. The word miracle caught fans' attention immediately. Was there a struggle? Did they face medical challenges? Was this a long-awaited blessing they weren't sure they would ever get? While the couple didn't reveal medical details, one thing became clear: this baby is deeply cherished. And perhaps this wasn't just luck. This was a moment they prayed for. They also teased a special announcement coming soon. Many fans believe it may be connected to where they plan to raise their child. Will they stay in Virginia? Move away from the family farm? Go somewhere completely new? Julia once expressed wanting a life beyond the farm responsibilities, and now, with a baby on the way, that decision feels more real than ever. The journey ahead won't be perfect. There will be challenges, sleepless nights, emotional moments, family opinions, and adjustments for both parents. But one thing is certain: Julia and Brandon are united, stronger than ever, and ready to embrace parenthood with open hearts. From strangers to spouses, from visa struggles to farm chores, from tears to joy, this couple has grown in front of millions. And now, fans get to witness their greatest chapter yet, becoming parents. Julia once said she didn't come to America to milk goats and chase animals, but life had bigger, sweeter plans for her. Plans that now include tiny socks, baby bottles, and a love unlike anything else. No matter how wild their journey has been today, Julia and Brandon stand hand in hand, proving love does overcome obstacles, patience builds dreams, and sometimes, the biggest miracles come from the most unexpected paths. Julia Trubkina's long-awaited family visit turned into a 90-day fiancé nightmare when Brandon Gibbs walked out with his parents, sparking one of the most explosive fights of happily ever after. After 5 years together, Julia and Brandon, who met on 90 Day, the last resort, have faced ongoing challenges. Brandon wants children. Julia wants boundaries with her in-laws, and they are hoping to bring her family to America. By the tell-all, they were the only couple still together, but happily ever after has tested their relationship. Julia's parents' visit was meant to celebrate their life as a couple, but the first night erupted into a massive fight, ending with Brandon storming out with his parents. What does this mean for this couple on the show? Brandon's parents, Betty and Ron Gibbs, have always struggled with boundaries, and this season is no different. Julia is excited to bring her parents abroad and show them their lifestyle as a couple. She even warns her in-laws beforehand that there won't be much space once her parents arrive. Yet, after spending hours driving back and forth to the airport and hours on the plane in the case of Julia's parents, they are greeted by Brandon's eager parents. Everyone is exhausted from their trips, and Julia lost her voice playing translator. Julia is clearly unhappy, and while she tries to explain why she was upset, it is clear her emotions are getting the best of her. While she might not have had the best attitude, Brandon's parents were offended by her actions and stormed out. Brandon, equally upset with his wife, because he didn't like how Julia treated his parents, stormed out behind them. Although Julia clearly communicated before and during the events, it seems that the Gibbs had ganged up on the Russian native. Now it seems like the 90-day fiancé couple has reached an all-time low, especially with Julia threatening to change the locks. In the past, the 90-day fiancé star's parents were labeled as franchise master manipulators. Julia and Brandon's parents struggled to get along from the very moment she learned she would live and work on their farm, as well as abide by their strict rules. However, Betty and Ron refused to respect the couple's privacy and independence as a new couple. In fact, Betty even went so far as to humiliate her son for having a hickey, despite them being engaged and well into their 20s. Living together was causing too much turmoil, so Brandon and Julia finally signed a lease. But that only set Betty off. She wasn't ready to lose her son, and, in a fit of tears, she cried that Julia was the one manipulating Brandon. Ron was equally irate, screaming at the young couple for having the audacity to move out. Fans saw past the tears and yells quickly. It seemed they cared more about free farm work. Unfortunately, moving out hasn't seemed to change things for the young couple. Betty and Ron still don't respect boundaries, and instead flip the situation onto Julia and her reactions. However, Brandon walking out was an all-time low. Overall, Julia's emotions and thought process are totally understandable. Tons of 90-day fiancé stars have complained about the plane and travel time. It was insensitive for Brandon's family to show up, and it was equally appalling to watch him walk out on his wife. The first night his in-laws were there no less. He and his family certainly didn't make the best impression on viewers, and there's no telling how his in-laws feel. Now Julia seems ready to end their relationship, and this might be the final straw. They seem to have the time of their lives traveling on 90 Day Fiancé, but now that they have differing views on having children, Brandon and Julia are getting the 90 Day Fiancé, the last resort treatment. Brandon and Julia met when she was working as a go-go dancer in South Korea. Though they had a smooth sailing, there appears to be tension between him and her. The couple will spend 3 weeks at a desert oasis in Arizona, where they will undergo a rigorous relationship boot camp aimed at rebuilding trust and connections. With the help of the counselors, couples will do group therapy and untraditional approaches, including hypnotherapy, pleasure mapping, sand tray therapy, and off-grid excursions into the desert. At the end of the retreat, each couple will decide if they stay together or part ways at a final commitment ceremony. Brandon and Julia have had a tough time and admitted that filming The Last Resort was a difficult and emotional ride. The two seem to still be together and traveling the world together. Social media is not reality. It's time to tell what I usually started to say and always stopped myself. But we really missed you guys. Thank you for your warm message and faith in us, Heartsuit, she posted on Instagram. Julia Trubkina is getting martial advice after she recently revealed that she's gone back to dancing. The problem is not so much that the 90-Day Fiancé star is showing off her dance moves again, it's that her husband Brandon Gibbs is totally against it. Julia made that very admission in the post and said that they can't seem to find a compromise. However, her social media followers are sounding off, and much like Brandon, they're not too happy with the Russian native for going ahead with her decision despite the objection from her husband. Based on previous updates we've seen from the couple, things appeared to be going well between them. But now there might be trouble in paradise. It's been a while since we've seen Brandon and Julia on TV, but they've been sharing a lot of their lives on social media. However, Julia's latest revelation has people concerned about her marriage. Julia recently got honest with her 236,000 Instagram followers and told them, "I decided to return to dancing again." She posted a racy photo in a gold and black dance outfit and admitted that she doesn't like her body due to the changes that come with age, but reasoned that now is the best time to get back into dancing. "When if not now?" questioned Julia, who added, "Brandon is against this kind of work for the summer. But I've already gone for an interview. And now we can't find a compromise." After sharing that information online, Julia got a slew of advice from her followers who warned her that her decision could have dire consequences on her marriage. Doesn't sound like you want your marriage to work. If your husband is not okay with you dancing for strangers and showing off the parts of your body that should be kept sacred for marriage, you very well will lose him, said one commenter. "You should respect what your husband is saying. He wants you to be safe, yet you go behind his back," reasoned someone else. One Instagram user said, "And things like this is why the divorce rate is so high these days. No respect for each other in the marriage." Another person added, "Your marriage has so much potential. You two are so cute together. Why would you jeopardize a beautiful marriage? Honor your husband and he will honor you. Dancing is not worth giving up your family." One of TV's most deliciously awkward shows, 90-Day Fiancé, wrapped its 9th season on TLC in August 2022, continuing to be a fascinating experiment in love and culture wars. The hit reality series is built around the United States K-1 visa program, which allows U.S. citizens to sponsor their fiancé to legally live in the United States. But the sponsor and the applicant must marry within 90 days of entry into the U.S. 90-Day Fiancé has spawned multiple spin-off shows on TLC and helped the network become a ratings juggernaut for Disney, topping all cablers in the key women demo of ages 25 to 54 in recent Nielsen quarterly reports. TLC President Howard Lee, whose parents were Chinese immigrants, told Variety in 2020 that the network's programming is a reflection of his own life in the U.S. "I understand them, and why they want to try to be further understood," he says of the reality stars in shows like 90-Day Fiancé. "Please understand me," or "Please understand my family." That comes across in our programming. And you have to experience that as a child to really understand. TLC's 90-Day Fiancé spin-offs include Happily Ever After, Before the 90 Days, What Now, The Other Way, Pillow Talk, Self-Quarantined, The Single Life, Love in Paradise, and the recently announced The Last Resort, which will feature past couples as they decide if they will stay together or move on separately. The Mainstay 2 birthed a slate of spin-off series that highlight individual cast members, including Darcy and Stacey, The Family Chantel, Loren and Alexi after the 90 Days, and David and Annie after the 90 Days. As for the original 90-Day Fiancé, as evident from the vast amount of spin-offs, viewers are eager to find out which couples are still together and who called it quits. Well, here's an update on all 50 couples from TLC's popular marital series, starting with the first season back in 2014. 90-Day Fiancé stars Brandon Gibbs and Julia Trubkina are a long-term couple, and viewers were in love with the chemistry they had. Though they had many ups and downs, they never gave up on their relationship and ended up walking down the aisle. Hence, it has been around 3 years now, and this pair is living their happily ever after phase, yet they haven't thought about having a child. This created several controversies until Brandon decided to clear the air finally. He took to his social media and revealed the secret behind why he and Julia aren't having kids. What did he disclose? Brandon and Julia from 90 Day Fiancé are one of the most promising and successful couples in the show. They crossed all the odds just to stay together and never gave up on each other, even after facing a lot of issues. However, it's been a while since this couple was married, and viewers have been wondering when they would extend their family. Fans feel that Brandon and Julia have been together for enough time to have a child. Hence, they asked the same to them several times until the former decided to shut the controversy once and for all. Recently, Brandon took to Instagram and posted a picture with a dog. He revealed in the caption that he often watches people having 2 or more children. The celeb further explained that he is even afraid to have even one. As per Brandon, he is skeptical that he would be able to afford having a kid or not. He concluded by adding, "Tell me a secret." However, viewers still encouraged Brandon to grow his family. Several 90 Day Fiancé fans wondered that if he could afford to have a pet, he surely could afford a child as well. Another one added, "Just go for it, you'll be fine." Some further wrote, "You just do it, and it will work out." There have been uncountable instances when fans have asked 90 Day Fiancé star Julia about her baby plans. Though she didn't pay much heed to the questions, she also decided to clear the air. Recently, the celeb took to her social media handle and revealed that she hasn't even tried to have a child. Julia explained that whether a person is married for 3 years or 10, they shouldn't be obliged to have a kid. She made it clear that, for now, having a baby isn't her goal. Apparently, there are many other important things she is dealing with in her life. 90 Day Fiancé star Julia made it clear that she may or may not have a child throughout her life. So, for now, she is focusing on her health and other issues in her life. Moreover, the celeb stated that everything is gradual and it will happen if it is meant to be. So it seems that Brandon and Julia haven't even tried to have a child for now. Even fans were happy to know that at least they were like-minded when it came to the topic and were happy with their decision. Yet fans are eagerly waiting for the couple to welcome their first kid. After Julia Trubkina shared a video on Instagram, fans believe she is pregnant with Brandon Gibbs' baby. As 90 Day Fiancé fans know well, Brandon Gibbs and his wife, Julia Trubkina, regularly share images and videos on their Instagram accounts. However, a recent clip has fans believing that Julia could be pregnant with Brandon's baby after a possible baby bump was spotted. Since Brandon posted the new video, rumors are quickly spreading that Julia is pregnant. Fans will recall from season 8 of 90 Day Fiancé, while the couple seemed very much in love, Brandon's parents, Ron and Betty Gibbs, were painted as villains. In fact, following Julia's arguments with Betty and Ron, fans assumed she and Brandon would never tie the knot. However, the couple went on to surprise everyone by getting married in April 2020, at the peak of the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, around a year after their wedding, Julia started discussing getting pregnant. While nothing has been announced, it appears that her dreams could now be coming true. Firstly, remember Julia's trim figure in all her Instagram images and videos, as well as on 90 Day Fiancé. Now, after Brandon shared a video of Julia, it has fans asking questions. In the clip, she is standing and drinking lemonade. However, what caught people's eyes was the possible baby bump, evident from the footage. Fans were quick to comment, writing, "I can kinda see a baby bump," and "Is she pregnant?" Another frustrated Instagram follower wrote, "Bruh, this is the second pic now in the last month where you 1000% show her baby bump. Just tell us." While more comments related to baby bumps and possible pregnancy, one person wrote, "Can PPL just stop commenting her stomach? Never comment a woman's body." They do have a point. However, after seeing endless images of Julia's perfectly toned body, it is understandable that pregnancy rumors are doing the rounds. Meanwhile, fans believe that if they are expecting a baby, it is only right to let their fans know. Also, if Julia truly is expecting a baby, it would also be good to know how Brandon's mom, Betty, reacts to the news. Remember back in the day, when Julia first arrived in the US and Betty was urging the couple to use protection. Whether or not Julia is pregnant, 90 Day Fiancé fans will basically have to wait until she and Brandon finally share some good news. Our hearts are overflowing with gratitude and love as we embrace this new chapter of parenthood. Welcome to the world, baby Ion. The couple wrote in an Instagram statement alongside a sweet family photo in their home. In the family's first portrait, Bilal, 46, was wearing a white sweater with blue jeans, while Shida, 40, was wearing all white with a purple headscarf.